is my calling. Vengeance my creed. I will wash away the past with the blood of Olympus. Chaos will rise again.
Naast mij zit Adam Puhl, de combat lead designer van God of War 3. En ik ga hem nu een paar vragen stellen. Always in the God of War franchise, it is important the combo system, the weapons and the special abilities. What cool new things can we expect?
What we've done is we've taken the weapon system from the previous God of Wars and we expanded that further. So we have 4 total weapons that Kratos can acquire throughout the game, and he can switch to them on the fly as much as he wants to. The difference, though, is these weapons are sort of the theory is an extension of Kratos' chain blades. So we have our cestus, which are 2 really heavy gauntlets, and it's for close quarters combat. But they have chains on the ends of them, and they can be tossed out like ball and chains. They're really heavy, and all the weapons sort of have that sort of chains with something attached to the end of them theory behind them. And they all have their own combos, their own strategies, their own magics, and you will want to switch between them a lot because the AI will actually encourage that. There's enemies that you have to use specific weapons on to defeat, and I'm really happy with the way that things has turned out because when you get to the end of the game, you'll actually have a favorite weapon, and most likely it won't be the blades.
Well, imagine you were Kratos for one day in your life. What would you do? What combos would you make?
I'm not sure. I get to actually imagine I'm Kratos all the time. That's sort of my job, is to come up with how he's going to take someone out that gets in his way. Kratos is very straightforward and very brutal, and he has a lot of anger behind him. And I think on the PS3 we've been able to express a lot of that. So,
do you think Kratos is more brutal than the other God of War games?
Oh yeah, he's reached his peak of anger during this game, and a lot of that detail has now come across. You can actually see when he gets mad, the wrinkles in the skin, in his brow, and when he's flexing his muscle, veins will pop out. When he's ripping people apart, blood will actually splatter on his body. There's all these levels of detail added to the brutality and the gore, as well as new camera perspectives. We have some really interesting sequences of when you're taking down some of the gods.
Yes, the details are really amazing. Well, I heard your team was inspired by games like Devil May Cry and PS2 titles Shadow of the Colossus. Is that right?
Yeah. Devil May Cry is sort of the beginnings of an action-adventure genre, and I think that we've taken a lot of inspiration from those games, and we take a lot of those ideas and we mold them into the God of War formula and evolve them further. So while there are a lot of ideas that a lot of games that we play, and a lot of movies that we watch, a lot of inspiration we get from many different media, we make sure to evolve that for the God of War formula.
For example, by what movies were you inspired this time?
Well, there's a good sequence at the opening of the game of when you take down Poseidon, and there's a beatdown sequence that occurs, and there's a movie called Layer Cake. And
I know that one.
Oh,
Daniel Craig.
Yeah. It's an excellent movie, and there's a really personal, very violent beatdown sequence in that movie, and there's no blood, there's no stretching of skin or anything gory like that, but it's very brutal, and so that was sort of the initial concept. I found this movie and I handed it off to an animator and said, "Here's part of this is what the inspiration is," and he ran with it and just made this fantastic sequence.
Looking to the future, well, if you have to make an analysis, what do you think the score will be on Metacritic after a year?
After a year? Well, I hope that it's, on par with the previous God of Wars, which were, on the 93, 94.
Is it possible?
Is it possible? Yes. I think it's possible. I think that this game has some elements that you've never seen before in a video game, and some scale of characters that you've never seen before. Some of the largest characters probably in a video game ever. So, and graphically, it's fantastic. and I think that we've also extended the gameplay. It's actually really fun to play on the harder difficulties. So I think we set the cards up as best as possible. So let's see how it goes.
That's good. Can you mention some of the new things? New enemies?
Yeah. Well, we've I think some people have seen the Centaur. We've brought him back. He's been in God of War 1, but we've really introduced him as a sort of a commander for Zeus's army, and he actually communicates with the little grunt guys that run around, and they will come up and dogpile on top of you, and then Kratos will just explode them all off, and you kind of get that Agent Smith's moment from the Matrix. Well, the Chimera is another AI that we really have been wanting to get in since God of War 2. We actually did concept art and had a character model and everything ready, but it just didn't. We didn't have enough time, and that one had to be cut. So that was the first character that came back for God of War 3. And there's, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a very specific boss battle that I've been wanting to get in forever, and it makes perfect sense. If you're talking about Greek mythology, then this character should exist. So they're great games.
Is it difficult to step in if you didn't play the other parts?
No, I don't think so. I think that we train the player up the same way that we always have, and I think everyone will definitely have a good time. I think you will get a recap of God of War 1 and 2, and you'll understand the story, but playing God of War 1 and 2 will really get you to understand why Kratos is so mad.
I know it's difficult, but I don't think that we get bored, and most God of War players just want to see more. So maybe it's an idea just to start a new trilogy, like Prince of Persia or something.
Right? Yeah, it could be. I think the team would really want to reinvent how we do things, for sure. But yeah.